So one of the cool things we did down in South Africa is we got into this game polo cross, which was a mixture between polo and lacrosse. And so I had my great friend Ian Hulley, and we had our little team over there in Belgaum. And so because there were about 3 other guys playing in the whole country, we got to play on the national team. Only problem was that apartheid was going on and we couldn't get any teams to come over and play us. So there we were, national team, the Springboks, that's what all the national teams are called in South Africa. And all we could play against was Rhodesia. So we had this opportunity to play against the Australians, but they had to get sponsorship. So Ian Hulley and his dad, John Hulley, they came up with the scheme, well, why don't we come up with this really cool fundraiser? So the fundraiser that they came up was we would recreate the Dick King ride. Dick King was a guy back in our history when the Boer War was going on. The British were fighting against the Boers, which stands for farmers, which are the Afrikaners, and the Afrikaners were actually kicking their batushkis, and they had the British barricaded into the town of Durban, where it's the biggest town, the port that we're from. And so this guy Dick King gets on a horse. They think a horse, maybe he had another one on a lead, and he swam the bay of Durban, and then he rode 800 miles down the beach to Grahamstown, where he then supposedly did this in 10 days. And then they jumped on a ship, the British jumped on a ship then and came up and relieved the folks that were starving to death in Durban. So Ian comes up with this thing, and we go around town and we get the local feed company to help us out. His dad's a pretty innovative guy. We go down to Toyota, and Toyota just opened a new plant in South Africa. We get brand new Land Cruiser. We're 18-year-old guys. We barely have beards. We get the nicest.
Still barely have a beard.
Yeah. We get this pristine white Land Cruiser. Of course, we tore the guts out of this thing, and this is what pulled our horse trailer. So the concept was that Ian and I would ride down the coastline. It's all down the coast. It's this incredibly beautiful coast, probably the most beautiful coast I've ever seen, called the Wild Coast. We would ride down the coast, and then my girlfriend and Ian's friend, they would drive around on these really rough roads and come in and kind of be our backup. So we took 3 weeks, became these national celebrities. But one of the things that I just remember so clearly was Ian. Ian had this horse Captain, and Captain was his polo cross pony, but Captain had figured this out that Ian was the enemy. So Captain would do everything he could to make Ian's life a misery. So I remember you open those big old horse trailers that have those big doors, and so you'd open the door, Captain would come charging out and almost smash old poor old Ian. We'd be going across a barbed wire fence, and you stand on the barbed wire fence, bend it down, and you have your horse Captain run right over the top of Ian. Walking down the beach, and I remember one day walking down the beach, and we got our reins over our arms. We're walking down the beach, just having a good old time. Captain sees a little rivulet of water going across the river, and he backs up. Ian's about 6'4", big guy, tall guy. Just all I see is his feet come up like that. But anyway, we did this thing in 3 weeks. Got to Grahamstown. The whole town turned out. We had this Mardi Gras, New Year's Day parade lead us into town. World-class heroes. We raised a bunch of money, but the dang Aussies didn't come anyway. So that's the story of the Dick King ride. It was awesome.